Okay, so for today, I'm going to be showing you how you can make a nice, chunky, raw food gazpacho using a blender. This blender is not very cute because it's been through a lot, but it works. It works pretty good from China. Looks like a Vitamix. It's not a Vitamix. So basically what we've got in here is we have yellow bell pepper, a little red leftover bell pepper. We have some chili. Let me show you what the chili peppers look like. I'm using these Asian cool looking chilies. Let me toss that back over there. Missed. Alright, so we've also got cilantro, we have cucumber, we have about 2 cups, 2.5 cups. I didn't measure of Roma tomatoes. You can use any kind of tomato. Although I don't recommend cherry tomatoes because they have a lot of skins, you know. Oh, and there's also celery that's been chopped up in here. A little turmeric for an extra health boost, but you don't have to put fresh turmeric in it. Let me show you what fresh turmeric looks like. Kind of looks like this. So, sort of a dry fresh turmeric. So just rinse that, and I chopped it, and voila. Did I say I put cilantro in it already? Anyway, I put cilantro in it, and there could be something else in here that I didn't mention, but I doubt it. So I'm gonna blend it with about 2 tablespoons, give or take, of lime juice. I took just 2 limes and I squeezed 1.5 of them, but depending on how juicy your limes are, you know, and how much lemon, lime, sourness you like in your soup, you can adjust that. Just don't add too much in the beginning because you can always add it, but you can't take it away. Anyway, we're gonna also add some salt, some water, but not too much water, and I like to add a little bit of olive oil. Whatever. Okay, so let's get cooking, and I'll stop chit-chatting. So I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix this. Actually, this bowl makes things impossible to mix in, but never mind. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna add a little bit of this and a little bit of that into the blender. Okay, so let's do that. Because I don't want to make the blender too high. If I put everything in the blender, you know, it's going to make it difficult to really get a good circulation in the blender, which right now we're kind of using the blender like a food processor because we don't have a food processor, so we're just using the blender. We could buy a food processor, but we've decided not to buy a food processor. Go figure. Actually, my mom, she wants a food processor. It's me that doesn't want to spend the extra cash. So, yes, you can blame me for that. It's not her fault. So I'm going to just put a few tablespoons of everything in here just so you can get an idea of how this works. Oh my goodness, the mosquitoes. You can also use your hands. Oh, garlic and onion. Yeah, there's some garlic in there and some onion in there. Okay, I did forget something. Okay, so I'm just going to get my hands in there and not be shy. Yeah, just throwing some tomatoes in there, everything. I need a few more green things in there. So I'm going to make about probably 3 batches, all in all. I want to get a good combination of the different things that we have here. So as you can see, I didn't fill the blender too high. It's about 500 milliliters is the height that I put it at. Don't stress if your blender doesn't tell you like the milliliters or the cup measurements. That's not really that important. You just want to remember you don't want to fill more than 1/3 of your blender. So if this is my max here, I don't want to put more than 1/3 of that if I'm using my blender as a food processor. Okay, that's all you have to remember. Okay, so let's see what happens when I start blending this. Or I should say pulsing it. We're going to use the pulse setting. Okay. Actually, my pulser doesn't work, so I'm going to just... Okay, I blended it a little and I stopped. A little bit more and I stopped. Now I'm going to use a spoon or a rubber spatula to kind of get around in there and mix it up a bit. I'm going to mix it. You see? I'm mixing the pulp a little bit so that on my next go, more of this will get blended. I'm I'm going to actually add some liquid to it as well, but not too much. This liquid is the lemon juice that we talked about and the water. Okay, let's blend this again. Pulse it again. Alright, so let's see what we ended up with. Alright, now this is nicely pulsed, just like how your blender would get it, you know? Oh, sorry, your food processor. If I were making this in a food processor, it would look kind of like this. So we have successfully used our blender like a food processor. I mean, maybe this might not look delicious to you, but don't worry. And we're gonna just move through the steps. Alright, so this is supposed to be a fast recipe, so I'm gonna try to move a bit quicker. We can probably stop the video. So we're gonna run our last batch now. So far, our soup is looking pretty good. This is with 2 batches. You notice there's actually small pieces here, okay? It's not completely blended. You could make it totally blended, but I don't know. I don't really like the soups when they come out that way. Well, at least this particular type of soup. I like it, you know, just in really small pieces like this. This is perfect for me. Yeah. And if you want to make it even more interesting, add a bit of beet juice to it and mix it in. It makes it just vibrant and beautiful, gorgeous. Yeah. Anyway, let's do our last batch. So yeah, you do have the option to just make this, just totally blend this and make it completely blended, but I don't know. I think that when you're making an all veggie soup, such as the gazpacho that I'm showing you now, it comes out a little bit better if you leave some things in small pieces. So that's the theory behind what we're doing right here. Oh, let's not forget the liquid. I think I'm gonna add a little bit more water, just because. And just because it's a soup, you know? It's a soup, it's not a chimichurri or a salsa, so a little bit more water doesn't hurt. Yeah, see, if you put even less into the blender, you don't even have to open it to do all that mixing that I showed you the first time around. So I'm just gonna give it a little shake, just in case. And pulse it one more time. Alright, there we go. Well, maybe one more time. Okay, I'm happy now. Oh, I actually almost totally blended it, but it's gonna be good for our soup. See that? Perfect. And you did it all with just your blender. I add this to my soup, and I'm gonna have a nice lunch. Okay. Actually, for this part, it's better if you have a spatula, but if you don't, you can add a little bit more water into here. Because it's a soup, and just shake it around. Okay, never mind. And add it to your blender. Okay. The blender looks pretty clean. Actually, it didn't really take that long to get all this mixed up in here. So let me show you what this soup looks like now. This looks pretty good. And to this, we would usually add salt, some olive oil, maybe Kalamata olives, a dollop of cream cheese. Sorry, not cream cheese. Coconut yogurt. Yeah, coconut yogurt or coconut cream cheese, which we'll show you in another episode. But this has a great texture, and it's really good. You know, oh, I don't know if I remembered to mention salt. Yeah, you gotta put some salt in here. You don't have to add chili peppers, but I do recommend that if you want to add some fresh chili, don't add too much, because you never know how much heat you're gonna get, and you don't want to ruin your beautiful soup. I forgot to put salt in here. Yeah. Anyway. Alright, so we're back. This is how the soup looks. I added a little bit more water, and we let it rest for about 30 minutes. Letting it rest allows everything to, all the flavors really get soaked in very nicely, and the soup will actually soften. So if you can afford the time, it's best to let it rest for maybe an hour, or even the next day. It will be even better and softer. Yeah, much better. So next one I'm going to do, to make it even more delicious, I'm going to add some mango, which my mom chopped up, and some avocado. Just get that in the mix. My hands are clean, don't worry. Pieces of mango in there. A few pieces of avocado. And just along the edge. Hey Mommy, why don't you bring the camera and hone in on what I'm doing? Not me, just the soup. Yeah, there we go. I'm just going to put some of that around the edge. We've also got some Kalamata olives that we can add to it. I'll try to show you quickly. Make that extra good. And one more. And just some nice little touches. And last but not least, hands are getting a little bit greasy now. Last but not least, a dollop of our cashew chili cheese spread, made with cashews and pumpkin seeds. Just gonna get a dollop of that in there. What I really like to use more is, I prefer using coconut yogurt or coconut cream. I feel like that really gives it the best touch because it's really light and really creamy. Especially if you accidentally made it a little too spicy. Well, this is just as good. And voila! You can garnish with any greens that you have if you want to garnish it up a bit more. But this is really good just the way it is, and all these little pieces have softened up because we let it rest. 30 minutes is enough, but like I said, if you can let it rest longer, it will be even better. So enjoy!